All right, I got 6:30. We'll start the meeting, the August 22nd meeting of the Select Board. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thanks, Chris. Let's see, manifest.
Manifest.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the accounts payable manifest of August 22nd, 2022, and the payroll manifest of August 23rd, 2022.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, minutes.
I didn't have any edits. Do you have any?
Hey, Chris, would you mind closing that door, please?
I just closed the gym doors.
Oh, okay, that's fine, thank you. Nope, that's fine.
Try that first?
Nope, it's fine.
I'll make a motion to,
Just hang on one second.
oop, looking it over.
Yeah, I think I commented on this. Nope, I'm good.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 8th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor? All right, committees. Not a lot happening, except for
300.
Yeah.
They're batting 1,000 so far. I mean, with the parade, the band, the fireworks, and then this weekend. I mean, all of them are doing a great job, but I like to really say that Steve Welch is, I mean, he's at it 24/7, so.
Yep,
I think the people are really happy with what they've seen so far too.
good. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't make it to the encampment, but I made it to the parade. I thought the parade went really well.
Fireworks were great too.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you remember what's next? I don't remember what's next.
What's next, Steve?
There's something at the fire department.
Oh,
Jelly?
Chili cook-off in September?
oh, okay.
Nice.
There's something else in there too.
Oh, yeah. Town picnic.
Nice.
At the state park.
Nice. Good deal. Nothing on, well, I don't have anything on Marston. I don't know if, do you have anything new on Marston?
The last I heard was that they killed the weeds on the fields, and 10 to 14 days out, they will now oversee. So
Nice.
they are moving forward.
Great.
Which is exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Nothing on budget, nothing on planning. Well, John's not here for planning. CIP, Chris, anything?
No, you got the first look last meeting, and
Yep.
You'll start seeing a parade of department heads come through, and that's one of the things they're gonna talk about
Okay,
over the next probably 3 meetings.
okay. All right, that's boards and committees, town administrator report.
Let's see, we're moving forward just fine on the E911 changes. We're working on notification prep right now. The schedule is residents that are, or property owners that are getting an address change will be notified probably just after Labor Day, and the effective date will be September 27th. Everything that you had, you all had agreed to has been blessed by the state, so we're not expecting any other hiccups. Signs are ordered, street signs are ordered for the new street names. Those will go up early and be covered, and then just be uncovered that day when it takes effect.
Okay.
So I think we're on track there. We're notifying, we're trying to kind of over notify. We're going after some utilities and things that we can do in bulk, trying to spare the residents a little bit of that. That's not the state's usual procedure, but we've been chasing some of those companies to try and go direct to them, so that you know, it's just one less thing people have to deal with. I don't know how successful that's going to be, but we're trying. You all should have gotten notice through your town emails of switch to multi-factor authentication. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, but what were we supposed to do for that?
Eventually, you're gonna lose access to your email if you don't follow it. It's a second sign, you're probably doing it in the rest of your life. It's a
Yeah.
second sign-in mechanism that,
Yeah, it gives you a code when you go on, it gives you, yeah.
yeah, your bank may use it, or who,
Yep,
and the staff is all just kinda getting into it too, to see what the routine's gonna be like, but,
Okay.
that's coming from, that directive is coming from lots of places, including our local, our liability insurance providers are pushing us on that.
okay,
Towns have been a target, and, email's a great way to get in, for locking up systems
Yep.
and whatnot, so.
yep,
Anyway, if you get stuck on it, let me know. If I can't help you, I'll connect you with somebody who can. But everybody that's tried it so far has survived
okay.
the process. And we're COVID-free in the building finally. We had quite a run. I think 5 of the people that work in this building in the last 3 weeks have been down, 4 at one time last week, but everybody's back, everybody's okay. Everything's open, everything's returning to normal, ish.
And you held down the fort so there weren't any big fires or,
There was one day where I was 5 people. So our service levels may not have been that great, but mercifully the phone was quiet, so.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody got a light service that day.
Oh, thank you for fighting through that.
Oh, I'm just lucky that I wasn't amongst those felled, I don't know
Yep.
how, but, I think everything else you have either is in writing or coming up on the agenda, so I don't have anything else for you.
You guys have any questions? No. Okay, we're gonna take a little bit of a sidetrack, and Scott, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes, all right? Running state rep.
Running for state senator.
Good, fine, it's your show, I just
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
You can sit at the table there. Yeah.
Thank you.
So good evening, my name's Scott Breyer, I'm running for state senate. I sat in this job that you did for 21 years in the town of Northwood. So I've been through several revals in Northwood, and I'm very familiar with what you deal with on a daily basis, trying to run a town and manage it and so forth. Besides that, I currently serve on the Northwood Police Commission. After I became, was a selectman, I decided to be on commission. I heard that Senator John Reagan decided not to seek re-election, so I decided to throw my name into the hat. Currently, right now, I work at the New Hampshire Department of Safety. I've been there for 22 years. I oversee all the gasoline and diesel taxes for the highway fund. Before that, I worked for the legislative budget assistant for, 12 years. Over there, I just went out, I was a senior audit manager. I went out and audited all the state agencies. I also did the Superior, probate courts, liquor commission, basically any executive branch agency, and would report back to the state joint fiscal committee, which is made up of half state senators and half state reps. So I consider myself, I'm a moderate conservative, but with that, I know what it's like with the town and the challenging things you're dealing with. I'm also very familiar with a lot of the issues at the state because of my position with the state. And I'm at a point in my life where I can, if I get elected, I'm planning on retiring and devoting, full-time to be a state senator if I get elected. And I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
When you were sitting in our seat as a select person, what did you expect from the state, from our state reps?
I mean, I think, I'll give you some examples. I would like to see, currently, I'd like to see a little more revenue sharing, because currently I don't think the state's funding with what they can with the rooms and meals tax, as you're probably well aware of that. I also have a great appreciation for the highway block grant, getting the money for that to improve the town roads. So my personal opinion is the state has a rainy day fund, but sometimes I think that there's some abilities to send a little more money down to the municipal level to help assist you guys with property taxes.
All right, go ahead.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I have one more.
Okay,
Everybody who has run as state rep or state senator for this area has come in, just like you have come in tonight, and
Yeah.
introduced themselves to us. And then, when they get elected, we never see them again.
yeah.
And so, my question to you is, you know, suppose you get elected, how are you going to work with us? How are you going to communicate with us on a
Well,
regular basis?
First off, I wanna let you know that, I'm next door in Northwood, so I'm pretty local. On a side note, my daughter keeps her horse right in Nottingham, right around the corner, we, keep a horse there. But what I'm saying is, this number on here is my cell phone number, the email. If you need anything, please just call me. If you need me to come to a meeting, I'd be more than happy to come to a meeting. I'm here to represent the citizens of this district, and I know being a select person is a very difficult job. You're always trying to balance the needs of the town with the tax rates and so forth. And I would definitely be here for the residents and for this board if I did get elected. I won't be a stranger.
Okay. Ben Scott is running for, state senator, just popped in, introduce himself,
Oh, yes, I see your signs.
yeah.
Glasses.
So, anything, if you wanna contact me now, if you wanna talk about something, just call me, send me an email, I'll respond.
All right, all set, all good, guys?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for letting me take some of your valuable time in introducing myself, but I thought I tried to go out and reach out to all the towns and just let you know who I am, put a face to the name and
Yep.
so forth.
Thank
Thank you.
you, have a
Thank you.
good night.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, we'll return to our regular programming schedule. Action items from last meeting.
Was the ethics policy.
Yep, we got that on the agenda, so that's good. All right, assessing. We got a whole bunch of stuff from Kelly.
I didn't get to read through those, so I don't know the backstory.
Chris, I had questions about the two land use change tax.
Okay?
They were both.
Try.
Yeah, I should've gotten in to see Kelly, but they're both basically coming out of, conservation easement, right? Or what I'm not using the right word, but
Coming out of current use.
current, so they're both coming out of current use, correct?
Yeah, you don't get involved when something goes into current use. Only when something comes out, we have to, charge that tax. And
Yep.
You are instructing the tax collector how much to collect
Yep,
based on the recommendation
Yep,
from Avatar.
okay. I thought, just wanted to be clear.
So that was for the abatement?
No, those were the two, 4112-3 and 4015-9. Those are both land use. That's the abatement.
All right, I'll make a motion, the select board approve the abatement for, is that really the map name?
Yeah, it's a town-wide thing, so it doesn't have a specific location.
Okay.
You can just say Fairpoint.
Yeah, map, Fairpoint, Lot 1, as per, Avatar recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Abstain.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve the land use change, tax for, map 41, lot 12-3, and map 40, lot 15-9.
Second.
all in favor?
Make a motion to approve the intent to cut for map 74 and 75, lot 1.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, moving on to general business. Code of ethics. So hopefully you guys have all had an opportunity to review this by now and ready to comment. Looking for comments?
Good.
I like it. I think it's pretty thorough. I don't think it steps on any toes, and it's a good foundation that, you know, it'll be a living document in the years ahead, and I think it's a good start for future boards
Okay.
to go by, so, for it.
Okay. Ben?
Just curious what prompted this, whether we never had one in place before and the board has done well without one. Was there an event that had taken place as to what brought this up?
Well, I mean, I initiated this, and I personally think we've been negligent in not having it. And I think that something like this sets the expectations clearly for people as they come into the role.
Okay. And this is cut and paste from other towns, is that right?
Yeah, from multiple towns. It's pretty, from what I've seen, it's pretty standard as to what most towns have.
Okay.
Are you good?
I'm good with it.
Okay. I'm gonna wait and take a vote on it when John is here, when we have all five here, okay? And then Chris will, we'll go through the process, we'll take off draft, and then we'll have a copy here and we'll sign. Okay, cool. Next, sale of town property.
Just wanted to, I included in your meeting package, the notice that, we're prepared to send out regarding the property we discussed at the last meeting. I just wanted you to have one more chance to stop us before we go forward. This is virtually identical to, what we've done with a couple other similarly, offered sealed bid properties. So just needed a quick nod from you that you're good for us to publish this, and we'll take it from there.
Looks good to me. Guys all good?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, that's what we,
It's what we agreed to.
Decided on last.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. Okay.
Bless you.
Bless you. NHMA policy process. This is your favorite time of year, Chris?
Favorite time of the biennium, this is an every other year thing. If you want to, this is not an obligation, this is this process, if you don't recall, the NHMA sets its priorities and its policies really for how it's gonna approach the legislature in the coming biennium. And they get together a bunch of volunteers it's board members like yourselves, staff members, subject matter experts in a few different areas. They create some committees, they take solicitations from the member towns of things that the member towns would like to see in terms of new legislation or things that towns want to advocate for collectively at the legislature.
Yep.
So what you have is a monstrous collection of principles and policy objectives that will then be voted on by the NHMA membership in September. You can send one of your own as a delegate to do that, and vote on all those things. I think there's one floor proposal that came up late, but everything else is pretty much there in that package. You can go through them one by one and say yes or no as a local board, what you wanna support or oppose. If there's anything in there, those lists of policies that you don't agree with, then certainly you can send your delegate to vote against them. In that session in September, there's usually a little bit of discussion and not a lot of dissension. If it makes it this far, it's usually got a pretty good consensus from big and small towns. So the choice is yours. You can go do anything from ignore it to go through it line by line and send somebody to vote on it. And that is entirely up to you.
Yeah, so what we've done in the past is that, we've all taken the time to go through it and, then reviewed it with Chris to kind of identify anything that we feel strongly about. And then Chris goes and represents us. So, I mean, I think it's a good process for us to go through. So I think, I would be in favor of making sure that everybody reviews it, and let's talk about it at the next meeting. Is that too late, Chris, or?
Let me see here. No, I think you have time to do that, but.
Okay.
Your September meeting schedule's a little wonky with Rosh Hashanah falling in there, so you've got a 3-week break coming up. Your next meeting is the 12th of September, and that is in time,
It is in time,
but it has to be that one, it can't be the one after.
okay. All good? Everybody good with that? Okay. Dee, are you expecting anybody else?
Tom said he might be here. I'm not gonna.
Well, we can shift and we can do Courtney. You're not expecting anyone else, right? Are you okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey Courtney, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, how's camp going?
Over.
Is it?
It's over. It went really well, though. I wanted to kind of give you guys a recap, just to start us off of about what happened this summer with us. I have a lot of cool things that I want to share, things I want to brag about with my staff. Summer camp was awesome. We had a total of 103 participants that registered with us. 38 full-time kids that were here all 7 weeks, and 65 sign-ups that were week to week. So that translates to about 60 kids per day, which was great.
How does that compare to like last year?
Last year it was after kind of the COVID
Right.
bump. We had, we had a good amount of kids, but this year we definitely were kind
How
of
does
back
it-
to
how
our
does it-
normal.
Oh, okay, so it's normal compared to pre-COVID.
Yep, pre-COVID, well, pre-COVID, we kind of went a little bit bigger when we were over at the school, and we kind of incorporated Northwood kids. With the addition of their rec director, Scott, over there, they have
Yep.
more opportunities, so we kind of still stuck to the need, which was our community this year, and it was much easier numbers. Staffing was really hard at the beginning of the summer. We ended up fully getting enough kids. They were pretty young. It was a young staff this year, but it worked out great to be back here and on site, so that myself and Bridget were here the whole time, which was huge.
Nice.
Yeah. So with summer camp, the kids held a lemonade stand. We talked about financial health and responsibility at camp, and we raised over $400, which was really cool. So a lot of the community came out to support, a lot of the parents. We had a couple select board members drive through, so it was really great to see that community involvement, which covered the cost of the ice cream truck at the end of the summer. So it was great. They got their reward by the end of it. So it's something that I think we can make kind of a tradition, and the kids really had a blast doing that. Emma, our program supervisor, our third full-time employee, she is our summer camp supervisor as well as our aftercare supervisor, which is great to have that office staff kind of involved on a day-to-day basis. So she conducted a mental health spa day with the kids, which included, they rotated through groups, through taste and touch, iced tea and cucumber eyes, sound and sight, ocean spa video, and smell aromatherapy diffuser, and a couple parachute games.
Did they love it?
They loved it.
Oh,
Our
nice.
staff loved it. They got to have iced tea, they got to relax, it was really cool. A big part of coming out of COVID, I think we have to keep a little bit more in mind. We have a lot of behaviors, a lot more mental health issues that we're seeing kind of come up. So if we can try to continue to incorporate that, I just loved that, and the kids all had so much fun, so it was cool. Alongside that, we also partner with Seacoast Mental Health, which is great. It's a kind of a free outreach program that they've done. They come in once a week during summer camp. They've helped with aftercare. They teach things that reflect moods, breathing techniques, and more, and they kind of do it as a group so that every kid kind of gets those management tools, which is great. We have seen and probably will see more continuing behavior issues with kids at camp and in aftercare, so it's nice to have a partner organization local that's willing to kind of give us those resources and help. So it's been great. We had Little Red Wagon come to camp from UNH. We had the Dover Color Guard group come, which was a group of high school kids that do color guard with the marching band, and it was, the kids were asking them for autographs, they built flags, they were dancing with flags and at our talent show this year because they were so excited about it. So to be able to have that, you know, you can go to Dover and you can do this cool thing, was pretty awesome. We had a coordinator from New Hampshire Girl Scouts come in and do activities on a day. We had Winnie, the service dog from the school, come over with the kids throughout the summer. Fire department helped keep the kids cool by spraying them down a whole bunch of times. We had police come in to talk about safety with the kids. They all walked away with their sticker badge, which was very cute. And Highway set up a mini touch-a-truck, so that was really cool. The kids had a blast. We plan to do a town-wide touch-a-truck next year in July for National Parks and Rec Month, thanks to you all. So we're excited to start that planning for next year and do mini pop-up events through the year, or through July, so that the town can also get involved. So really excited to start planning that. Some of the challenges we saw: without lifeguards, we couldn't utilize the town beach, which was a bummer. We've tried to get lifeguards the last 3 years,
Everybody
and
has.
it's a problem. So in order to kind of to bring back that summer camp feel and get the kids down at the beach, that's a goal of mine for this coming year, to figure out how to do that. Kind of do some research and looking around to what other towns are paying, if they even have lifeguards. I know the state park has struggled the last couple of years as well, so it's a hard thing to figure out. And I'll talk about that in a little bit with my budget. But so that was some feedback we got. Bridget did a great job. I received 0 complaints, which is the first time in 7 years, so super happy with how it went. The kids were great, the staff was great. Really happy to report that and excited for next year. We had, alongside summer camp, we had additional camps. Snapology, which was it's a company out of Dover that does STEM, STEAM, Pokemon, Legos, and that was a big hit. We had about 40 kids signed up for those 2 camps. American Dream Stables we work with, we only had 6 participants this year, but willing to work with them again and provide a horseback riding opportunity for those kids in town. And then we worked with Seacoast United Soccer Camp, because last year went really well, this year not so much. A lot of complaints, a lot of different feedback. We'll probably try to figure out a different option for soccer. I'd love to work with strikers and see if we could do something a little bit more local to town. So alongside summer camp, we were able to do some other cool specialized camps, looking to do something with art next year to try to give the community a bigger kind of dish to pick from. So went really well. We also had the summer concert series, which we averaged about 100 people per show. So that's also a fun event. We did concessions this year, sold a t-shirt. People were really happy. So it was a good summer.
So that's all you did this summer, Courtney?
That's it. And now we have fall coming up with, we got flag football that starts games this weekend. Aftercare starts August 31st, I believe. So yeah, we got toddler gym coming back, we have legacy leaders, we're doing a new hiking / walking group with that population over 55, and bringing back senior lunches, so.
Courtney,
Busy fall.
congratulations, that's fantastic. Everything that you accomplished this summer, that's just amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and your
It was
team,
awesome.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, everyone did a really good job, so happy to report that. Thanks.
Excellent.
How's the beach doing maintenance-wise?
Struggling. We had a great spring cleanup with the beach. PLIA helped, which was fantastic. We cleaned it all up and there's grass back on the sand. We did have a few members through PLIA help us redo the beach shed, which was amazing. They're still working on painting it and, but it's all cleaned and winterized and we can start moving the beach stuff down there to free up some storage space that we have up here. That's a piece of property that we manage that really does need an additional person to kind of help maintain that. And with highway down, certain people, it's hard to ask them to help with that as well. That and our other properties like Marston and here, we've had to take in some of the trash receptacles as well and do carry in, carry out because I just don't have the staff to keep up with that. I also, my van, it's not great for transporting stuff, so trash is hard for my department, and we just don't have time to kind of go over that. So we removed the trash receptacles in hopes, and it really has been going okay. People have done a good job with that. The beach itself, I think like the overgrowth could be managed a little bit better, and that again would be helpful to have some, kind of somebody to help with that, but it's
Have we
It's
put up
tough.
signs that say carry in, carry out?
yes.
Okay, good.
Yep. Yep, and I need to get one over at Marston when we kind of open up for Flag, but for Flag, we have a portable trash can we take back and forth with us to make sure we keep it clean. Yep.
Like football, she means.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great, awesome.
that's the recap. What would you like to talk about next?
So you've got the field use policy, and then, did you have something else?
I think CIPs, to kind of
Intro
touch
on
base.
CIP stuff.
Let's do that first.
CIPs?
Yeah.
Sure. This year, I kind of made some slight adjustments with kind of priorities that, so I changed the order of that. My first CIP for the year 2023 is about the community center gym floor and kind of the walls and structure of that room that we have. We have seen over the last couple of years a continuing pattern of the tiles on the floor, the same tiles we have throughout this whole building. It really isn't the appropriate tile for sports and programs with kids running around, and even our pickleball program, it's getting kind of dangerous because even with waxing and cleaning that floor, it still kind of is so worn that it really needs to be updated soon. So that, with that, there's also the walls in there above kind of the wooden part in the gym or the multi-room is like a plastery type material. So any ball, soccer ball, anything, softball, baseball, all that, it's creating kind of like these dents in it. So it's really not a room made for sports, and we're kind of using it as a room that's for sports, because that's what we have. So there's some significant, we put some plywood up to try to maintain that, but it's plaster. So that plywood board is only gonna last so long, and also become a safety issue. So we're a little bit worried about that. We're also worried about the cracks in the floor and the tile. There's some tile that has lifted, there's exposed glue, and it just keeps kind of getting bigger and bigger. So that has become more of an immediate need for our department because we do so much. We do martial arts in there. The NYA uses it for sports. We have, a wrestling program that uses that space. We also have pickleball that uses that. We do senior programming in there. So it's getting to the point where kind of that tile is really, it's scaring us a little bit, with kids slipping and adults even slipping. So that's that first one, and happy to answer any questions kind of regarding that room.
Have you met with, are you scheduled to meet with the building committee, the new building?
I haven't heard from them yet.
They're working their way
Yeah.
through
Okay.
people, they'll get to her.
Yeah.
They got one tomorrow with
Yep.
one of the department heads, so.
Yeah.
But that, you know, aside from coming and sharing it with us, that would be, have that good detailed conversation with them when you meet
Yeah.
with them. And,
Perfect.
you know, make sure that they have a understanding of the full scope.
Yeah,
Okay,
I will.
yeah,
Yeah,
because they'll be reporting back to us,
okay,
yeah.
I will do that. Any other questions about that one?
Van, you mentioned the van.
Yep, van's in there. My next one is this area right outside the community center. There's that like hot top area that we are asking or hoping that, to get it in front of you all, that we'd like that part repaved at some point soon. We've had a couple of emails come in that people are interested in pickleball courts and tennis ball courts at Marston, but those costs are huge.
Yep.
So kind of trying to make a different approach to that. If we repave this area out here, number one, it's a safety issue. There's a lot of cracks in it. We did our community yard sale over there. It was a perfect spot for it, but it's so cracked and dipped and kind of worn that it's uneven for walking, and people walk through that to get to the playground and the fields too. So that, having that repaved and kind of leveled is a wish list item for us. Not only would it just be nice to have a flat area where we could have summer camp games and stuff like that happen, but it could also be used for an outdoor basketball court in a central area that we have here, but also pickleball could be played out there as well. It's large enough for that. So some of those needs, we have people that play pickleball inside, really pushing and really wanting that outdoor use. And I don't know if you guys have heard of the Rage, but it's pretty popular.
Who was it? One of the, former NFL quarterbacks, Drew Brees,
Yeah,
was on TV the other morning saying that he plays pickleball.
oh yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
It's big, and it's a growing community too. So to have an area that we have portable nets we could put out there. Now, ideally, we'd love a tennis court kind of texture on that floor for safety, but just a flat paved area we could do a lot with.
Do you remember, kind of like, what's the real ballpark cost for, like, if we were to do tennis court, pickleball court out at Marston, what was the ballpark on that?
I believe it was, for a big thing like that with multiple courts, you're probably looking at 80 to 100,000, which is a lot, because then you have, you know, whether or not you want to do fencing around it. A lot of people do that to kind of keep it contained.
Yeah.
We could probably do it scaled down
Yeah.
and start and build up, but it's a high cost.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, the group that has been doing the fundraising has done a pretty good job of getting us to this point. I was thinking about maybe we should we try and put together like a 5-year plan,
Yeah,
raise money to get to that point?
I think it could be useful.
Yeah,
Yep, and it might pick up some more folks who are interested in maybe helping with that project.
yeah,
The same folks have kind of been doing it for year after year, and it would be nice to get some new people.
yeah. Because we've kind of, at least for this phase, we've done everything that we wanted to do for this phase, so it might be
Yeah.
time to say, okay, what's the next point of focus for fundraising?
Yeah, what kind of that next priority step is.
Yeah,
So I plan on doing this January. I don't have the money in my budget now to do a full needs assessment, which could be lots of money, but I'm planning on putting together kind of a general recreation survey again to get kind of the needs of the people that we kind of communicate with, and hopefully new folks, to kind of give me a feel of what's a priority and what isn't. So I can report back once I get those, but I'd like to try to get it out as much as I can, which will be in January, so. Yep, so that's that, the second one. The town van is another one, which is in good condition now. It is pretty limiting on, it's not really handicap, like accessible or ADA accessible, so puts kind of we have to, if we do any senior programming, I like to rent a van that's handicap accessible, so that way I can kind of, it's safer for us and less liability, but, so eventually, we like to get a van that does fit those needs so that we can bring senior trips back. We use that van a lot for our legacy program right now. We don't use it as much for summer camp because we haven't been able to go to the town beach or field trips, so, it's more used towards that program, that age group. But that's in there as well. And-
If you got a lifeguard, you'd be back to using that for shuttling
Yep,
kids, right?
yep,
So-
all week long. And it would be really great to have a backup cam. That's a safety, that doesn't have that. So that's
How old
kind
is
of,
that van?
I think, I'm not sure, I wanna say 2015.
No, no.
No, not that
Oh, well,
old?
we may have had it since 2015, but we didn't buy it new.
Okay,
Yeah, no, we didn't have it in 2015.
I don't
It's
think
older
so.
than that. It's a 12 maybe, or
Okay.
something like that, yeah.
It's in great shape, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it, but for growing and the growth that we have in our department, it really doesn't fit a lot of those needs.
Yep.
It's also, the seats don't remove, I have a very hard time transporting stuff in there, big thing, so that's a future need, but not immediate. And the other one, well, there's two more, I put Marston in there to kind of, as a placeholder to hold some of our future ideas, that we have there, like ADA trail, pavilion, picnic tables, tennis, pickleball, basketball, but those are all significant costs that,
Yep.
right now, it's not doable. But the last one I have is I put the automatic beach gate back in there. We talked about that last year. We were able this year to secure 2 gate openers. I have one in the morning and I have one in the evening, which seemed to work out really great this year. They were able to kind of fill in for each other. We changed it to a combo lock to make it easier on everybody. So there were some challenges in getting used to that, but overall, I've had less problems than I have in the past couple of years with that lock, so.
And the auto gate was 7,500?
I think so, yeah, I'll have to get an updated
Yeah.
price on that, considering everything, but it was right around 7,000, 8,000. But would be a great fix for future town beach management.
The human gate opener and closers is really dumb luck. The people that live nearby are willing and able and interested in doing that for
Yeah.
the few bucks that we
Yeah.
give them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's practically volunteer work.
It is, yeah,
That won't last forever, and you don't wanna, have somebody on the staff whose job it is to do that at 7 in the morning, 7 days a week, so that, in the long term, we're gonna have to find a different solution, but she's pushed it back because we're okay for now.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and that's all I got for CIPs.
Questions? Okay,
So with kind of that, but in looking ahead to future years for us, I did just wanna kind of talk about, that shared position that we talked about with highway, that maintenance person being a need with the addition of Marston and the maintenance work that we have around the playground and the gardens here and the town beach, it all adds up to quite a bit of work that we've been lucky to have volunteer help. I would be, we had a great showing for the town cleanup day, but we really, without the NYA and without the PLIA, we wouldn't have had the success that we did. So really, those group organizations helped out tremendously, especially with this property and the town beach. But again, you guys know how fast growth happens, right? Like it looks great in the spring, and then in July, it's a jungle again. So it's, especially these gardens up here and the maintenance we have around the playground. I just don't have enough staff members internally right now, office staff members to kind of do that. So we've tried to look at, the cleanup days to really bring the community together to try to get that volunteer support, but really, these maintenance-y things like hanging signs, those are all things that I lack and I can't do while managing all of the other stuff.
Yep.
So that's, I think, still a significant need for us, and I think for highway, and I'm speaking for Sean, but we've talked about it. And then, again, just hitting home the lifeguard plan. So I'm gonna do some research to look around at other towns to see who has secured lifeguards, look at UNH, look at those places to see what they're kind of charging. The hard part is we have to invest in these folks, which is, you know, not the hard part, but it's a bigger cost to train them and certify them, and we used to hire 15, 16-year-olds, and it's really a bigger job than that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to look at so that may be a budget item in our general fund line that we kind of look at for next year, hopefully.
Would it make sense, like, is there any way to, like, approach the state park and maybe try to do lifeguard sharing with them?
We can try.
Because a certain, like, you need it the most during camp hours.
Yep,
They need it the most on the weekend.
yep,
So I wonder if there's any way we could do that.
yeah,
You know?
I don't think they've had
They haven't.
lifeguards, period,
no,
No,
since COVID started anyway, right?
correct.
Um,
But I think it's the same challenge.
yeah,
yep.
They can't find them,
Yep.
you know?
And it's hard to, cause at one point we were like, okay, well, we'll, you know, incorporate that in camp, but if we have a lifeguard there, it's gotta be for everybody.
Correct.
So it's gotta really kind of be funded by that general fund line, because everybody who's there and uses the beach should be able to.
Yeah, but we can say we're only providing it during camp hours.
Yep, yep, yeah, which,
I mean, on the shared position, right, I mean, if I look at Raymond, right, Raymond's guys that work like our guys for the town, they not only maintain all the fields, not just mow the grass, they line the fields when the kids have a game. I mean, I don't understand, I mean, to hire a person, I mean, this one person will be, you know, just in the summertime, to mow Marston, to put sand down at the beach, I mean, I don't know how we're gonna do it, I don't see why, I mean, we can't somehow implement where the guys can do what they can do, I mean, whether it's one day a week, or,
and they dedicate Fridays to us right now, which is very nice of them to kind of help with those miscellaneous jobs. It's just, I think with Marston and some of the bigger items that have, and we're gonna kind of talk about the field user policy I came up with in a second, but with all of those responsibilities, I think it all kind of ties together.
Could it be a summer position?
Yeah, a lot of towns do that.
Okay.
You'll see like Alton Parks and Rec, they hire, I think part-time, but it would be like seasonal, full-time hours.
Yeah.
And they help kind of maintain the grounds and that sort of thing. Giving the responsibility of like lining the fields and mowing that's a huge startup cost, which is, I think at this time, yeah.
Brian Arnold, who works in Raymond, lives in Nottingham. I've known him for a long time, and somehow they managed to send them guys over there to do it. I mean,
Yep,
we had to invest in a mower maybe, but
yep,
contractors, you know, they're busy too.
yep,
We can't even find highway guys.
No, I know, that's what I mean, it's a,
yep,
yeah, we now have an irrigation system to maintain too.
Yeah.
It's coming online. I think Courtney's gonna be our irrigation expert.
ask for a training.
What I was, what I was trying to figure out is like, as far as like the Marston and some of the, you know, some of the issues that need to be done around here in the summer as related to camp or whatever, if, you know, is there an opportunity for us to hire a college kid for the summer? to
It's
do
worth
that-
a
do
try.
That kind of stuff, rather than
Yeah.
saying, we need a full-time position, which
Mhm.
we know we're gonna have some challenges this year
Yep,
with the budget, you know,
but start a smaller route with some part-time,
yeah.
yeah,
Because then you don't have all of the loaded benefits and all of that.
yep, yep. And definitely look to doing some research on that and getting some job descriptions from other towns to see
Yeah.
what that looks like and who kind of manages that. I know a lot of, it's so different in every town you go to with Parks and Rec. Depends on kind of the size of the community and the size of, you know, what their highway department looks like or public works. So
Yep.
Yeah, I can certainly do some more research kind of on what other smaller towns do.
Because we're
and-
gonna have to have options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah. Any other questions with that stuff? CIP?
All good, guys?
Yeah, I got nothing.
And then lastly, I have been approached by many people, you know, people wanting to rent fields for birthday parties, organizations needing field use, with Marston kind of slowly / quickly approaching, it's becoming kind of a talk amongst that like youth sport community a little bit. So I have met with the Northern Strikers, who are a Nottingham-based program. They do recreation soccer, they do competitive soccer, but also I've been in contact with the NYA, the Youth Association, to kind of get a feel for, in years past, we've, you know, had agreements with them, and they've kind of taken over scheduling, and kind of have done that. I have recently had issues with town and rec scheduling with these organizations, and so I think with the field user policy that I sent to you, sorry it was last minute, today, it will hopefully kind of clear up some confusion. There's a lot of towns that now it's not uncommon to have basically a request form, just like we would have for the town building for groups to use. It's not, you know, a huge burden to add to our department to also kind of schedule those people. It's by doing that, we're able to kind of make sure that our events that we plan a year in advance are set and secure, and that we won't have kind of people show up. The last couple of years during summer concerts, I have baseball teams show up and soccer teams show up, and it's kind of frustrating, especially when we have 100 people who come to those shows. So we need to keep the parking lot clear. So I've had great conversations with both of those organizations, and I think it's important that as a town, we keep those agreements in place, and we give them priority during their respective seasons. So NYA, we give them priority of these fields, and Marston during spring. The plan is to also do the same for soccer in the fall, because they do cater to mostly Nottingham residents, and they help us with townwide cleanup days. We're hoping to get a little bit more partnership going on with some summer camps with each organization. We have the same kind of ties with Black Bear Lacrosse. They do stuff for the rec department all the time. We allow them access to the fields in kind of a scaled down version of an MOU that we have with those other organizations. So the purpose of this form, I mirrored it off of the municipal rental agreement that we have in place to kind of keep it consistent, because I feel that that's really important. And I'd like to, you know, eventually get signs put out on those fields, basically directing folks, if you want to use the fields, call the rec and we'll schedule you, and we'll kind of talk to those organizations in season to make sure that all is good, so we don't have as many conflicts with that scheduling piece. And I think it's really brought kind of both of those NYA and Strikers together with us as the town to try to get on the same page with storage facilities and and keeping it kind of working together, I should say. Has really kind of helped the last couple months. So with that, we get insurance from them. They fill out this form, hopefully. And then I have a youth sport kind of survey that I've sent them to get stats on how many kids that they cater, that filter into if Nottingham is the most.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps us figure out who has kind of priority. And then it's like whatever's open, we give the people who want to use it for birthday parties, et cetera, if that makes sense. So, and I think I'm looking for you guys to just review it when you have time and to approve it or give me a green light to use it.
Do we need an official vote on it, or?
It would be helpful, to make it official. We can publish it, and
Okay.
what I think 3 years down the road, what we're gonna really want is, Courtney's gonna end up tweaking this as we get into
Yeah.
the full use of
course, yeah.
Marston and all those things,
Yeah.
but, the first principle being, you know, with those organizations that serve Nottingham kids primarily, and that work with the town to make the town a better place. And
Yeah.
that's one of the, you know, when we have 2 or 3 of those that we have a history with, some longer than others, but that is going to be the priority and the first chance at the fields. There's going to be more demand for our playing field space than we're gonna be able to meet
Yep,
in some seasons.
yep,
So I think it would be really helpful for Courtney to have that philosophy blessed. So when the other organizations start calling,
Yep.
she's got a policy to stand on.
Yep.
And, also that, outside of that general philosophy and framework, she's gonna need some latitude to just decide who's gonna get these things, and, that's what that policy is intended to do. As well as all the, you know, the legal and insurance and
Yep.
protection kind of things and the rules, and that stuff's all pretty straightforward.
Yep.
But over time, that's really gonna be helpful for her in managing it. The Parks and Rec Department's gonna take on a little bit more scheduling responsibility as we move forward with this, with Marston and everything. We used to just kinda say, okay, NYA, it's April, it's all yours, you know, we'll see you in June.
yep,
That's not gonna work
right,
long-term. They're still our priority, but, they're gonna take on some more day-to-day headaches there in an effort to prevent the problems that she told me. So, that's a long way of saying, yes, please look it over and prepare to vote on it so that we can make it official and, she can rely on it and refer to it and give it to people if need be, and people can find the information themselves online if they want to investigate using our feed.
so Lorraine, action item, everybody reviews. What would be helpful is if everybody can review, and if you have comments, get them to Chris prior to the next meeting, so if there's anything that needs to be clarified, he has a chance to go to Courtney, and then we can finalize it at the next meeting.
So I
Makes
say,
sense.
in NYA, they get like first priority over, cause I know strikers, they're not all Nottingham, right? They're other towns.
They're
as well.
not, but they have recently, it's higher Nottingham percentage. But yes, NYA gets that first priority, but we've worked with both organizations to kind of talk through, because we also need to remember that these fields are gonna need a breathing period. And the only time that we've had historically that the rec could use is summertime, and if we do that, then there's no time for these fields to breathe and
Yep.
regenerate. So, I think, and with the people who we've met with, it's gonna go smoother for now, and that's all we can hope for. But yeah, they would get kind of that priority in the spring, same as soccer in the fall, and then we've been talking back and forth about getting us a schedule so that any of those outside organizations who wanna use for like a birthday party or a Girl Scout troop or Boy Scout troop, I can go to those people and say, hey, are you gonna use this on Tuesday night? And they can say yay or nay, kind of thing. So we'll just kind of do the best we can, but we've had way more of those kind of questions, especially now that Marston will be available soon, which is exciting, but
It's very exciting,
a lot more to think about
yeah.
and maintain, so.
When we have the first event will be a flag football game?
Hopefully, right now, we're playing flag on that back field.
Yeah,
Kind of
okay.
that extra field that we have. But yeah, it would be awesome if we had grass by October, like they're saying, and we could do our championship tournament on that field would be really cool.
It'd be fun to have just kind of like a little bit of a to-do the first time the fields are
Yeah.
used, you know?
Absolutely, we can kind of do a little ceremony
Yeah.
of some sort, but it would be really awesome if it's this fall, so fingers crossed.
Anybody have any questions for Courtney?
I'm sure I'll have some as time goes on, so
Yeah,
I don't have any right now.
I threw a lot at you, so,
You're doing an amazing job.
thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Just the way that this program has grown since you've been here and all of the wonderful things and the relationships that you're building with the other organizations, I think is just amazing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
You too.
Thank you, Dee and team, for allowing us to shift the agenda.
No problem. Right, so, Dee Decker, here on behalf of the PLIA, specifically to give you an update on the Lake Coast program, and the overall funding, as it stands, for this year. I also know that there are a couple of questions that there may be about the current milfoil situation, which is actually a bigger conversation and really needs to be part of another meeting. However, Tom is here if you have questions that I am not able to answer. I sent you guys out an update that was as of pay period 7. We ran payroll for pay period 8 today, so the numbers have changed a little bit. So what we currently have left as a balance after today, based on my calculations, not New Hampshire Lake's calculations, is about $1,400 for the rest of the year. And it looks like we are going to be short approximately 8,000. And I am not here to request, the full amount, and I'll explain why in a couple of minutes. The overall boat traffic at Fundy is down significantly over the last 2 years. How it compares to pre-COVID, I don't know, because I didn't have that data and Crystal wasn't readily available to be able to give me some of that historic data. So we're currently at approximately 6,500 inspections at Fundy. As of this time last year, we were at about 8,800. So like I said, we're significantly down. However, that being said, I think a lot of people have gotten smart and are launching at the state park. It cost them $4 or $5 to be able to get into the state park. I counted 27 kayaks and canoes leaving during my 1-hour walk this morning.
Is that from that small launch, from the
Yep.
canoe launch?
There's no issue with parking there. They can park in the parking lot at the canoe launch, which is a small launch over by the Neal's Cove side. But if that is full, they have the entire parking lot for the beach that there are never cars in. So people are not wanting to deal with parking at Fundy and getting into arguments and everything else like that with people with power boats. So I really think that the people with the kayaks and canoes are going over to the state park. I do not have any data on that because unfortunately we just don't have a lot of coverage at the state park. We had a hard time covering the hours that we had at Fundy this year for a variety of reasons. And we had to significantly increase the amount we paid Lake Coast this year in order to get people to be out there, in the weather doing our inspections. So there's been a couple of things that have impacted our budget and increased it dramatically, and that is the overall cost of employees. We've done the majority of Fundy with 5 Lake Coasts, and there hasn't been anybody available for the state park. So we've relied on our volunteers up at the state park for coverage. We have Friday mornings primarily covered for most of the year. Friday afternoons have been covered, and some sporadic times here and there in between. But we really need to find a way to get coverage up there year-round, and it's not going to come from the state park staff. It's just simply not. The legislature is not willing to even have the conversation, because if they do it at one, they got to do it at them all. The one major thing that the Lake Coast at Fundy are not doing is telling boaters to avoid the markers that are in the lake that show where the milfoil is.
No.
And the reason they're not doing that is because over the last couple of years, fishermen, which we have a lot of fishing tournaments again this year, we're like, oh, thank you, we will make sure that we go and fish there
Oh,
because that's where the fish are. And so we stopped telling people because if a fisherman casts a line and breaks a plant, it can spread the milfoil. And they will go over and deliberately fish those areas. So we're not telling people that.
Somebody
any
had
longer.
brought that up with me, and I wondered what that.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other issue that we have is campers, because there's, in that, the main channel area is where there's a lot of, you know, campsites that are on the water. And campers go out and pull the markers in and just take them out. And those are their marking where milfoil is, and then they go out to look for the markers, and the markers are gone. Because the campers are just going out there and just taking them, and, or moving them. Or we found a pile of them, on one of the unused, campsites at one point. So, you know, I've talked to Dave about that. I think it's a bigger conversation we need to continue to have with the state park. And I also.
Radioactive sign on the.
And then the other thing with the state park is they are back to allowing power boats to launch it at Horse Island, which that has not been allowed over the last couple of years with COVID, and they're now allowing power boats to launch back at Horse Island. And there's a lot of spread with milfoil.
For perspective, what, like a month ago, going through the channel, there were 15 markers.
Yeah.
And it's not that big of a space. It was. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So while the Lake Coast program is very important to keep milfoil from spreading more into the lake, but also at this point spreading out of the lake. I mean, we do have an issue of, you know, helping protect other lakes from getting milfoil. We have a couple of catches of milfoil leaving Pawtuckaway this year. And that's the first time we've had milfoil leaving Pawtuckaway this year. So the Lake Coast still is a major player in the spread overall of milfoil.
How many saves have you had this year?
I don't know specifically because Amy has a huge backlog, and so she's still going through them. We get a periodic update. I'm assuming one's gonna come pretty soon because we haven't gotten one in a month.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that one is coming, but we've had four submissions, one by Mike Colton, in the last month of, plants going out. So I'll keep you updated on that. So tonight, the request is, for $3,500 from the town. I've also requested $3,000 from, the PLIA. That'll make it so we're basically matched as far as contributions for this year. And that is $6,500 and less than the $8,300 that I anticipate, based on scheduling that we're gonna need for the rest of the year. And the reason it's lower, I'm actually gonna ask for $4,500 be approved, but only $3,500 sent, because last year we had almost $4,000 in starting balances from New Hampshire Lakes, from the carryover, and I would prefer to run lean for carryover, and come back to you in 6 weeks and say, hey, we need one more quick infusion of money to get through October, rather than having 4,000 sit in their bank account and not ours. So that's why I'm asking for the full 4,500 to be approved, and only 35 to send. That way, if I say, hey, we need the money, and it's already approved, Chris can just have Betsy just send it. And so that's kind of why I'm requesting it be done that way. We're also getting into the weather pattern where we start getting wetter. And so with the onset of, you know, hopefully weather coming, we'll have less hours because we're not at the ramp when it's raining. And so if we can, you know, skate through with some weather events and whatever, then we wouldn't be using as much. And so, you know, we might, you know, be at a more even balance for the year at that point. So that's what I have for you guys. I have, you know, any questions?
What did you have for leftover last year?
Our starting balance from the carryover for last year was $3,970.83.
That was your carryover?
That was our carryover. Yeah.
But based on your numbers, the amount of boat launches have decreased?
So they have decreased to pre-COVID numbers. So they're still online from what I can find, for what the numbers were before COVID hit.
So, and this is just for educating myself here
Yep.
more, because I'm very interested in your program. Is this strictly volunteer, or can a boat person say, no, you can't expect my boat?
It is completely volunteer, and yes, we do have a very small handful of people who say no. And that, at that point, we just kind of back off and go on to the next boat. But we have, like, I can think of 3 people specifically who every time they come to the launch say no. And I'm not naming names.
No, I would never ask you to do that.
No, and some of these lake hosts are young, and you don't wanna put them.
No, that's
Oh,
not what I was
well,
getting at, I
well,
just,
wait, hang on. We have 1 college student, and everybody else is retired.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so we're not young anymore.
Okay, good.
And that, hopefully that 1 college student, he has been fabulous. He's gonna be a freshman at UNH this year, and I'm very, very hopeful that he will continue to want to
Okay.
come back.
Yeah,
So he's a young man from Nottingham, so, and he's been fantastic.
nice.
so in years past, have we had people at State Park?
So yes, in years past, we have paid people at the state park, yes. And
Would you say that the fact that there isn't anybody there on a regular basis, that's where it's coming in? Or do you think it's coming in through funding as well for those who refuse to be inspected?
So, since you brought it up, there is milfoil that is just off the town beach. And the milfoil just off the town beach, most likely came from somebody putting a boat, kayak, canoe in off of the town beach, which is signed, if I'm not, oh, she left already. If I'm correct, no boat launching. And people do it all the time, and now there's fun, and this has now become critical mass for the town, because if this is not managed properly and specifically, we could lose use of the town beach for swimming.
Well, you could lose the whole lake.
Well, yes, but, so the people on the lake are concerned about the whole lake. I think the rest of the people in town are gonna be super concerned about their beach. Not that they're not worried about the rest of the lake, but I think when you all of a sudden bring it into someone's home, this is really directly affects you, it is a slightly different feeling to it.
From what I understand, from the folks I've spoken to, it sounds like this is the worst it's ever been.
You are correct.
So, we're basically throwing money at it and it's never gonna be ridden?
Well, so, as I said when I started, that this is a much bigger conversation than just the Lake Coast program. The Lake Coast program is about preventing the spread in and out of the lake. The issue with containment, management, eradication is with our milfoil team. The spread of milfoil within the lake is not, in my opinion, related to boats going in and out of the water. It is related to what is happening with the plants that are already currently in the water. And Tom can speak to this more if you want him to. But the spread of the lake, of the milfoil, is not related to boats launching or boats leaving.
Okay. And the state has no,
So this,
how is our lake compared to some of these other lakes?
we are
Not one
at,
in town, because I know a lot of them are not, they're not affected, some of them aren't, like Pawtuckaway is, but how is Pawtuckaway state, you know, the pond versus all the others in the state?
so we are still considered an at-risk lake rather than a fully involved infected lake. There's still hope for Pawtuckaway. There's still
So what?
many, many hours going into managing this, where other places, I was telling Mike on the way over, there are places on Winnipesaukee that there are channels that boats can go through. You can't go anywhere else except those channels, and they work diligently to simply keep those channels free. They're not even trying to eradicate it everywhere else. They're just trying to keep these channels free.
So what constitutes, or what's the criteria for being critical?
I do not know. That would be an Amy Smagola question. And the state,
we're
she's
not
at
there.
state. So,
No, okay.
we are
I just want
not,
the folks at home to realize just
oh,
the
okay.
severity of this.
Now I understand yeah. So, no, we are not there yet. We're not at the point of doing chemicals and some of the other, really radical.
Chemicals are expensive, right?
It's all expensive, but yes, chemicals very expensive.
And it's not even a sure thing, right?
Couple of years.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take up the board's time on this, but, I'll reach out to you or Tom if I have any more questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. And I do know that the milfoil team is planning on, talking to Chris and getting on the schedule, to give you guys an update on everything that's been going on from their point of view.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just, I don't get it, I don't understand, if you wanna use our lake, you follow our rules, or you don't bring your boat in, I mean, there's gotta be places that are doing that.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head
Yeah,
around it.
I mean, if you don't, if the state park's letting them in, we need to come down on them and say, what are you doing?
So, we can't prevent boats from coming in. The legislature has said we cannot prevent boats from coming in. There's now a $20 sticker that out-of-state boats are required to get. Is it $20? Yeah. Are required to get, a milfoil sticker. That money is designed to help with the statewide milfoil, problem. It is power boats, it's out-of-state power boats. But the majority of the boats that we see are not power boats, and the ones that we see are in-state. So, those are definitely legislative things, and I would be more than happy to get you guys on the list with New Hampshire Lakes for their legislative updates, so that you guys know when things are coming up, they're going to be talked about at the House and at the Senate within the state, to be able to know, when you might want to go sit in on some of those
I believe
hearings.
that this issue should be a cooperative issue, state and local. It should not just fall on the local.
I don't disagree.
Especially at a time in our economy, it's on we're looking at a recession here at some point, and we're gonna continue to try to fight a battle that, foreseeably could not be winnable without some state assistance.
I do not disagree.
So yes, I would be very interested in the updates.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions about the Lake Coast program?
Chris, do you need a motion from us?
If you wanna spend money, I do.
Okay, so the ask is for us to approve 4,500, and then to direct Chris to send 3,500. So, unless anybody has any more questions about that.
Well, I'm all in favor of approving this, but I really feel that we need to put some real pressure on our legislators to take a serious look at this. So I'm in favor of it. But I really think as a board, whether we draw up a letter or something like that, to give it to our state reps and what have you, and take it from there. We cannot fight this battle ourselves.
That's been a recurring theme.
Yeah.
For years, everything to do with the lake and the park, when it comes to the state, they're a thorn on
Well,
our side, they're fighting against
They're
us.
taking that, they took, how many, 6,000 acres and,
Has any lake association found the formula for working with the state and getting the state to actually work with them?
Not that I'm aware of. That'd be a Crystal question. I can ask her.
You get to come up and say your name.
I just wanted to say, Tom Duffy, 28 Tuckaway Shores Road, Nottingham. I just wanted to say that you're probably all aware that the state park is planning expansion,
Yep.
and that means more campers, an RV section was originally proposed. I think that's been,
That's, has nothing to do with Lake Coast.
well, it doesn't know.
It will.
It will.
But he brought up the state and all
Yeah.
that, so I thought
I
I'd
just,
throw
I,
it.
I'm just hoping to keep this on Lake
Yeah,
Coast.
I
Well-
think, I think,
Eventually there'll be more boats.
I think the
more
point that,
boaters.
I think the point that Tom was trying to make is that every attempt to talk to the state has fallen on deaf ears in the past, so.
The power is all divided. Fishing game runs the ramp,
Yes,
state park runs the state park,
yes.
DES helps us. New Hampshire Lakes helps us, so there's, and they're quasi, right, because they're a separate organization. So there's 4 people that we're talking to try to bring to the table, and,
But those 4 people aren't talking to each other,
They're not.
right? Typical government,
Fishing
right?
game is very separate.
Okay.
They have a TV show, come on.
Yeah.
All right. Tom, get on the agenda so we can talk about the bigger issue at hand. Unless there's any more conversation, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion that we,
Just approve the
approve
$4,500.
$4,500 for PLIA and have Chris mail them $3,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. I appreciate, on behalf of PLAA. I have one other just very small thing, based on what Courtney said earlier. Lake Coast pass the state park, the town beach before 7 AM every Monday and go home after 7 PM every night.
That's a true statement.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Lake Coast pass the town beach entrance before 7 AM every morning and after 7 PM every night.
On the days that they're hosting.
Friday, 7 days a week.
No, but I mean, if you're not there because of weather or something like that.
If we're not
But-
there
but-
because of
but
weather, then that would be different.
95% of,
Correct.
Yeah.
Those are the automatic door openers she was talking about?
you know, they'll automatically show up.
I'm just saying, throw them a couple of dollars to maybe stop by. It may be a temporary solution, but I'm just saying that they're going by anyway.
Good thinking.
So
Mention that to Courtney.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink moment. I can say stuff like that.
I gave him 10 grand. Only gave him 5 so far.
Okay,
We have non-public.
we don't, but we wanted to go back to,
Yeah,
the email we got from the moderator.
we give him 5.
Yeah.
They get 5.
Our new moderator. So what I was unclear of with this, and I don't know what kinds of questions you guys had, but,
It's clear as mud.
what's that?
It's clear as mud.
Yeah, sure. What I was unclear of was whether or not she was asking us to look for people or just to approve the people that they find. And it seems, Ben, that the Republican side is the side that they're having challenges with getting people. So, that was my question, Chris. That was my biggest.
I think you need, this is a little bit outside my depth, but I think you need to approve those that have been suggested. And if you want to help find some more, you can do that. I think as I read her, email, she was kind of waiting to hear from the Republicans as much as, she hadn't gotten any luck.
What's the end goal here? Just to have a balance between the two
Yeah.
parties?
Let's have an
Yeah.
equal
Do
number.
we have that?
No, we have more Democrats than we have Republicans right now.
Then I think it needs to be balanced.
Yeah,
Well, it has to be.
It's supposed to be by law.
So we need to recruit. And,
So she apparently has been trying and hasn't found anyone,
okay.
is what the sound of it.
How many does she need?
She's saying 8 of each to cover 2 shifts of 4 people
Oh,
each.
okay.
She's identified 3 Republicans
Yeah,
Yeah.
already.
and she's got all the Democrats. Okay, so from our perspective, what needs to be done from our perspective is no different than in the past, right?
Yes, this is not something you've really talked much about, because it was just kinda handed to you and said, here,
Yeah,
approve
exactly.
this.
Yeah,
And you're seeing it a step earlier than you have historically.
okay. So the ask is that the moderator needs more individuals who are members of the Republican Party to support the election as a ballot clerk.
Yeah, they get appointed by each party, right, and then they want us to approve.
And then we approve it, yes, yep.
Yeah, unless, yeah, the parties have the first chance to provide people. If they don't, then it defaults to you.
Yeah.
That's the distinction.
More
So-
of a heads up than.
Well, I think you would not, you wouldn't harm anybody by approving the list and appointing the list that she sent already.
Okay,
Because the next time you meet is the night before the primary, so.
so that's a good idea.
We could at least know that this part was
Okay,
buttoned up.
that's a good plan.
So, but in the meantime though, if the Republicans come up with 5 more people, how are they gonna get approved? We're gonna have to have a special meeting?
No, you just do it the night before. That's fine. You're meeting on the 12th and the primary is the 13th, so.
So why don't we just approve the entire list the night before?
Because with, well,
I mean, there's 9, well, no,
I mean, I think she would probably feel better if she knew she had,
But I'm sure the opposing party would feel better if they had all the members and they were approved all at once.
given the fact that we have a hard time getting people to do it anyway, I don't think that we're in a position to say, to refuse someone to do it.
It's not a refusal.
Maybe by approving it now, it would actually, you know, pressure, you know, local Republicans, right? Because if they realize, oh God, the Democrats got 9 people on the list, we only got 5, we got.
So is that 9th person an alternate, or are they gonna fill in if the, you know, help me understand this. I mean,
she's saying, I mean,
You're gonna have a minimum of 8 ballot clerks.
Right.
From each party.
Right.
So there are 9 Democrats on the list, there's only 5 Republicans, so they gotta cough up
So
like 5 more people.
it's probably scheduling.
Okay, but so if the Republicans don't get 3 more members, do they just fill them in with Democrats, or do they just lessen the Democrat
You can't,
side?
you have to have, at each place where people are checking in, you have to have one person from each party. That's a state law.
I get that, so, but is the state law says 8 people? Or it's just,
no, she's,
Well,
that's,
get
she's
out
just
the
saying,
thing and read
she
the
wants
thing,
to have
because it was
2
in there.
shifts.
so that's
Before
set up by the
checking.
moderator.
Yeah, she's saying 8, so she can have 2
So
shifts of
if the,
4 people.
so if the Republicans don't come up with 3 extra bodies, they're gonna reduce the Democrat side down to 5? That's the question.
I would
I-
say, yeah.
I would
think-
not if I was a moderator. I mean, I would look for the Republicans who have signed up to work longer hours.
Okay, that's the question, all right.
That's,
Right.
if I, but I'm not the moderator, and I can't speak for what
Understood.
Don would do, but
I have
that's,
no doubt we're gonna fill this, I mean, it's always, since I've been in town.
It's
I mean,
always
we've
last
never
minute
had-
though.
Well, I know, yeah, I mean, but people,
All right,
I'm sure
Okay.
the word
I
will
mean,
get out.
I'm in favor of voting on who we've got tonight, because then at least the moderator has peace of mind that she knows that, you know, and she can go back to these people and confirm, she could start to schedule them. So, that's, you know. And then,
That's the thing for her is scheduling, creating the schedule for election day, right?
between now and 3 weeks, if they're not approved, they might be like, oh, well, I didn't think I was gonna do it.
Right, right.
know, and she
That
could lose
I'd
them.
have people bail out on her.
all right, all right. Okay,
And the people on there, I think they're the ones that have been doing it too, I mean, for a while.
Yeah, yep, exactly. All right,
Do we need a motion on this?
what do we do?
Well, I mean, we're just voting on all the, like, I see down bottom here, we have undeclared and all that stuff, I mean,
I don't know, do we have to just do ballot clerks?
I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah,
You're doing inspectors of elections. You're being asked to appoint inspectors of the election.
So
They-
everybody
They
on
happen
this-
to work as ballot clerks as
everybody
well.
on this list is considered an inspector of the election.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in appointing.
Okay, fine. Do we need to read them by name, or do we
No, you can just,
just take a
you'll-
motion
you'll
that we
have the same
approve the?
list. The list provided by the moderator.
I make a motion, the select board approve the, list of election inspectors as provided by the election moderator on August 19th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Get that, Lorraine, 3-1. Ben opposed.
Lorraine, you have that attachment with the list of names, right? Just attach it to the end, yeah, so it's clear.
All right. I think we made it through it. Does Dawn need anything else? Like Bonnie usually came in before elections. Is Dawn all set?
This is all I've seen, so, I will check in with her
not the
before
first
your
time,
next
right? She's
meeting
done this
and
before, right?
double check. Deanne, not Lake Host Deanne, but checklist supervisor Deanne, has, prepared a bunch of stuff for, election prep for us to get ready to set up the polls.
Yeah.
You should expect to hear from somebody about when you wanna be there
School?
at the school.
At the school, okay. Awesome. All right, barring any other business, I will. Sure.
Yes, I'm just following up. Hi, everybody. I'm just following up. I was here 2 weeks ago, and the incident happened almost a month ago, and I haven't heard a thing. I'm following
Well,
up.
for the folks at home, state what the incident was, please.
Excuse me?
For the folks at home,
The incident was the transfer station. I was threatened,
okay.
and there's a culture of bullying. It's a toxic culture. I've seen them destroy a young girl, and I've experienced it myself. We went through that. I'm not here to rehash it. I'm here to follow up on it, please.
But it's the board's, you know, we don't discuss any personal issues regarding how the situation was dealt with the employee. We don't discuss that with the public.
I agree with that. I do.
We can ask if that's been addressed, but that's all you can ask.
Okay. Well, you can tell the public if it's been addressed. I'm looking for the public myself, okay? Because people are out there, they're not happy with what's going on. And I'm here offering my help to change the culture. I'm here right now, and I will help you change the culture. It needs to be changed. If it's not changed, this town can be devastated. Devastated by those people.
You looking for a job?
Ooh, I retired 5 years ago, please.
Hire him.
Well, maybe you do have a spot. But we'll talk, okay?
You'll have to talk to town administrator.
We'll talk.
I will say that bringing it forward as you did made us aware, you know, and, you know, brought to the forefront some issues that we needed to address.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
I firmly believe it does need to be addressed, and not just addressed. It needs to be right in a row, taken care of, and move forward for the people. It's for the people, it's not for me. Okay, I'm 60, I just don't believe I need to be treated that way. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
All right. I'll take a motion,
Anyone else?
unless there's any other, no non-public tonight.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Sweet.